All right, so I want to talk about something a little bit different today, because I think, well, honestly, it's something that's important and near and dear to me, and ultimately, I feel that it just really ties into a lot of what entrepreneurs deal with on a daily basis. Excuse me. All right, so there's this phrase I say all the time. Me and my boy Garrett been saying it for years, been saying it forever, okay? And so we say get cocky all the time. And get cocky is just it's kind of like a mentality. It's kind of how we view things. It's how we approach what it is we're doing and what it is we're going through at the time. And normally what we most attribute it to is just the idea that we overload our plate, right? We put more in front of us than is reasonable. Look, right now out here on the farm, I'm like literally, I was out there mowing and everything, and then my homeboy, my YouTube manager, he hit me up and was like, dude, like, where's your next video? Like, let's keep things rolling. And I was like, man, I'm just busy. So I run in here, grab my phone, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna post this, I'm gonna make this video right quick, right? I constantly try to squeeze more into a day than is actually reasonable. I will try to take 6 hours of work and fit it in 3.5 hours. Now, this can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. It's all a matter of how you look at it. A lot of people tend to say that this is bad, right? Because ultimately what you do is you overstack your plate, you overbook your schedule, you put way too much into your day, it's impossible to get it done, you're completely unreasonable, and at the end of the day, you feel some like level of discouragement, like, you know, I didn't complete all my tasks. So you walk away, and this is most people. Most people will walk away feeling a type of way about that. They'll walk away feeling like, what did I just do? I failed. I dropped the ball. I didn't get it done, right? But not all of us are like that. A good majority of people are. And that's why this is a typical advice for people who are trying to coach and consult and help people better manage their business, better manage their day, better manage their scheduling, even better manage their life. It's like, try to be more reasonable about your goals so you can attain them, because it's psychologically gratifying, right? It's very satisfactory to complete a task, and like you make a list, and each time you check off a line on your list, it just feels so good. Everybody loves that, okay? Not everybody likes doing lists, not everybody likes making lists, but everybody loves to complete a task and feel like it's done. So as an entrepreneur, that definitely ties in, right? Because we as entrepreneurs, especially when we're trying to branch out into, grow the business that we already have or grow into new areas and get into new different things, we find ourselves, excuse me, I'm still a little winded working out in the field, man, my goodness. So like I said, we find ourselves trying to do so many different things and we're constantly, like, if we're good, we're constantly like, we're working on this, but in the back of our mind, we're thinking about what's the next thing. And then we start working on the next thing, and then we're thinking about what's the next thing after that. And then we're working on that thing, we're thinking about the next. It's this endless cycle that we're just like, we're always constantly, the wheels are always turning. Like I said, this can be good, but this can be bad. It's all in how you manage it. And see, that's why me and Garrett, like, we always have this positive approach to it. We're like, man, get cocky, dude. Just embrace it. Like, embrace that challenge. For us, it's not like discouragement when we don't meet our goal. It's like a challenge. Every day that we know we've exceeded our limits. We know we have pushed the boundaries. We know there's no way that we should be able to accomplish it. But what if we do? And see, that's the thrill. What if we did what seems unreasonable? What if we did what seems unconceivable, right? So this is our approach. This is how we feel about it. Now, I want to tie this into something that I had a great discussion with my cousin Ryan. My cousin Ryan is just brilliant guy. And he's a brilliant guy, and he's a teacher. And he deals with, he teaches high school, and he deals with a lot of students different attention spans. I mean, they're high schoolers, right? Got so many things on their mind. They got, what's going on. They got sports, they got extracurriculars, they got, what's going on TV, what's going on in the world today, what's going on with their friends, their cousins, their whatever. Teenagers got so much going on, right? And today, most teenagers have a smartphone. Most teenagers are on social media. These are things that are just kind of the norm. Now, I frown upon it a little bit, just because I tend to see that as sensory overload. Now, I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm just trying to, my boys aren't teenagers yet though. My boys are 8 and 9, and I'm trying to, they've already got a couple of friends who have phones and stuff like that, and they've got friends who've got, social media accounts, and I'm like, no, not yet. They don't need all that. I want to slow that down. So what I think happens a lot with teenagers, I think it happens a lot in society, period, especially with social media, but there's this sensory overload. There's this constant just information and data just coming at you, right? And so as you got all this data coming at you and all this information constantly happening and just flooding into your mind, what people aren't distracted, what people don't have their mind wander a little bit. I love the concept of global fatigue. Global fatigue is a real thing. You literally can become exhausted just thinking, just trying to think about what's going on all over the globe. You're wanting to know what's going on in China, what's going on in Africa, what's going on in Russia, what's going on in Germany, what's going on with your cousin who's in Indiana, you know what I'm saying? You want to know what's going on with your other cousin that's back in Texas. You want to know what's going on, with your friend that's across the street. You want to know what's going on with your kids. You want to know what's going on at work. You want to know, you've got so many things that you're so curious about. You want to know what's going on at the church. You want to know what's going on in your community, in society, and, everything. Global fatigue is real. It's more real today than it's ever been. But it's always been here. People can definitely become exhausted, but it's just more and more prevalent as we've gotten more and more into social media, and we're all on our smartphones constantly. We're all getting data and updates and information fed to us constantly. And because of that, we get overloaded. Teenagers were already overloaded long before smartphones existed. They're getting even more overloaded now. I had a conversation with somebody on Twitter the other day. If you don't follow me on Twitter, Corey Bayless, man, follow me. Great conversation, great content. You know what I'm saying? A lot of you do, and a lot of you have hit me up there. If you ever want to, feel free to hit me up there. Hit me below also. Let's have a conversation. But I had a conversation with a guy, and we were talking about, because he said, it doesn't matter where it started. Ultimately, there was a conversation that started, and it was based on one thing that led to another thing that led to another thing. And then he made a comment that ultimately was talking about how, good people with skilled people with ADHD could totally handle all these different things because they're so skilled, right? They've got a high level of skill and they have ADHD, so they're all over the place and they're going to get all these things done, right? And that initiated a response from me because I do not believe in the idea of ADD or ADHD. It's not real. It's not real. I went to school for psychology. My background is in psychology. I put myself through school running my own business, and I learned that I love business. And so I've continued to grow, and here I am now, running my own business and trying to give information, coach, and consult people, and continue to grow my investments in my portfolio and things like that. But ultimately, I initially went to school for psychology. I had a passion for psychology as a young kid. I really did. I knew by the time I was like 13 or 14, I was like, I'm gonna be a psychologist one day, right? A lot of kids, I'm gonna be a lawyer, I'm gonna be a doctor, I'm gonna be a football player, I'm gonna be the next Michael Jordan. It's like my little man Corey, he wants to be Michael Jordan. So the thing is kids grow up wanting to be all these different things, but I knew I wanted to be in psychology. And then as I got older and older, and I grew into a teenager, and I started reading more and more books, and I knew that I actually wanted to go into research. I wanted to be able to public speak, and I wanted to write. So I wanted to continue to just dive into research, study why we do the things we do. And then I wanted to write books based on my analysis, and I wanted to do public speaking. This was a passion of mine since I was a teenager. And as I went into my 20s and I got into college and went for psychology, my psychology degree, it just became more and more solidified that that's what I wanted. I ended up growing a passion for social psychology, and I spent 2.5 years as a research assistant in the social psychology lab at the University of Texas, which was absolutely incredible. Some of the best times of my life and some of the greatest work I've ever done. I just loved it. It was just amazing. But ultimately, we studied lots of different things as we were getting into upper division courses, and we were growing into our own studies. And me and my brother, when we were kids, were actually diagnosed with ADD and ADHD, and I always thought something was wrong about it. I didn't agree with it. And it didn't take me a few months before I just asked the doctor, I was like, hey, can I stop taking this? And he was like, okay, sure, let's try it. He took me off of it, and I didn't have any problems. It just made me feel bad. I didn't like it. I didn't like how it made me feel. My brother, the same thing. He didn't like it. He took it a little longer than I did, but he didn't like it either. And eventually he went to mom and he was like, hey mom, let's go talk to the doctor because I don't like how this makes me feel. Ultimately, my perspective at the time was like, there's just something wrong about this. I don't think this is right. And my mom had been in and out of the hospital a lot with health issues, so I had some perspective about the medical industry and the health industry, and I had some perspective about sometimes just as a safety net, I think things are overprescribed, right? And I don't want to get into a medical debate, but ultimately that's how I felt, right? And as I grew older, I just knew, I was like, I didn't agree with this whole idea of ADD. I was like, something about it just didn't seem right. But I didn't have enough knowledge and background. I was a late teenager. I didn't have enough knowledge and background to really, develop and formulate. But when I got to college, I read about some different people. There was a psychologist, I can't think of his name, but he was in the early 2000s. Excuse me. And he kind of was ostracized by his peers in the field of psychology because he disagreed with it and said that it wasn't real. And so it was frowned upon. How dare you disagree with us? So he's kind of ostracized. And then it wasn't until 2014 that Richard Saul wrote a book, ADHD Does Not Exist. Look it up. It's a great book, actually. It's a good book. Richard Saul has done lots of seminars. He's a behavioral neurologist, and he's for over 50 years, he was a children's psychologist. He had over 5,000 patients that at one point were diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, and he found that it didn't exist, that it was utilized as a crutch, that it was like people didn't want to acknowledge the other factors that were going on. They didn't want to acknowledge that children were just children. It was almost like they wanted to stop or stifle kids just being kids. And then there became this kind of fad. It became cool for adults. There was a lot of adults who, they posted on there. They posted in their profile on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. They think it's cool that, yeah, I'm a functioning ADHD person. I don't really know where that has come from, but it became like this thing that people felt like it was almost cool to be a part of the club. So I had this concept and this idea that I wanted to compare me and Garrett's approach, like this idea of just get cocky, man. We just overload our plate, not because we can't control ourselves, not because we're too distracted, not because we don't know what we're doing or we need medication or we need therapy or we need some redirection. No, it's because this is how we function best. Now, some people shouldn't do this. Some people should definitely manage their day better. That's why people get consultants, people get coaches, people. I don't think most life coaches are actually effective, but some people get life coaches, and some of them are effective. Just help you get back on track with things, help you really evaluate what it is you're doing with your spare time, what it is you're doing in your daily basis. Are you really being effective in getting what you want out of life? Are you really on track to the goals you want? With all these different things, and like I said, my background's in psychology. I'm a strong advocate for psychologists, therapy. I don't think everybody needs it, but I think most people at one point need to talk to someone. Whether you sit down and just have a few counsel sessions with your pastor, you go actually meet with a psychologist or counselor or therapist or something, just to kind of unload some things sometimes. It really just helps to talk them out. And so I'm definitely an advocate for that. But I'm definitely firmly against the diagnosis of ADD and ADHD. It's false. It's not real. Do people do this to themselves? Yes. Me and Garrett do it all the time. Me and Garrett do it because it's how we function. I do it to myself because I love it. It thrills me. It motivates me. Most people aren't like that. So most people shouldn't do what I do. Most people need to manage their time better. And I struggle managing my time from, managing my schedule, managing my time from day to day sometimes. It's not like, oh, well, I thrive on this, so I'm perfect. No, I'm not perfect. I'm flawed just like the rest of you. We all make mistakes. We're all going to have struggles and shortcomings, and we're all going to have different things that are, obstacles in our lives and in our way and in our business. But for me, like I said, this is just how I function best. Man, I'm all about just loading it up, owning it, and diving right on in. Like I said, today I got up, this is the last week of the boys' school and they're homeschooling as we're on the road, and I've got to finish up all their grading this week. I've got to have their progress reports submitted. I was doing that this morning, working on that, and I've got 4 days left. Then I got up and I was like, you know what? I needed to do the laundry real quick. I did some laundry, then I ran outside and I was like, you know what? We're at this farm. So there's this dirt road, right? And during that dirt road, or down that dirt road, on one of the corners, there's these weeds that were growing in the middle. And I started feeling them yesterday, actually the day before yesterday, brush on the bottom of my car, the undercarriage, and it really bothered me. So I was like, I'm not gonna have that. I gotta fix that. So I was like, I'm gonna go ahead out there and take care of that. And I was like, well, I'm out here. I'm gonna take care of that, and I'm gonna mow some of this field, right? So I knocked some of that out. And then my boy hit me up and he's like, hey man, I'm ready for your next video. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. I'm gonna run inside. I'm gonna, freshen up a little bit. And I'm gonna tackle a video real quick, put some content out there. And then, you know what? I got like 8 more things I gotta get done today. And right now I think it's pushing, it's like 5:15. 5:15, and I've got like 8 more things to do. And this is just how I function. This is how I like being busy. I like running. I like getting up in the morning, lacing my kicks, and just running faster than, that's how I thrive. That's how I will operate. Lots of people don't. So you should manage your time. I absolutely am an advocate for managing your time. But because people have a distracted mindset with all the things in our world that distract us, or because people are, especially children got a lot going on. My cousin said, cousin Ryan was like, well, dude, do you really think it has no effect? Because I could tell a difference in the kids that take their medication and, when they miss a day, when they come to a class and they haven't taken it that day, I can tell a difference. And I'm like, I'm not saying that it doesn't work, but I'm saying that there's other factors involved. There's other issues. I don't believe in the diagnosis. I do believe the medicine has been tested. The drug is effective. In most cases, the drug is effective. It absolutely does what it's supposed to do, which is slow them down. But to me, do they really need to be slowed down? I don't agree that they always need to be. And I do think there's better ways than just saying, hey, they've got ADHD. I'm gonna give them a pill. Or I'm gonna, even the people who go through not just a pill, but a process of, hey, these are our coping mechanisms. Okay, maybe those coping mechanisms work. Maybe they should be doing those. Say they have ADD, they don't. It's not real. It's just a crutch, man. It's just a crutch. It handicaps people. It's something that people put out there just so that way, hey, it's not my fault I'm all over the place. It's this thing that's inside my brain. I can't do anything about it. First of all, you can do something about it. And second of all, does that thing that's got you all over the place, is it good for you, or is it really hurting you, or is it good for you? Because for me, it helps me. Anyways, I don't want to harp on it too much. I just want to kind of reiterate the fact that there is no ADD. There is no ADHD. I don't believe in it. I'm not mad at you if you believe in it. If you believe in it, good for you. I mean, doesn't hurt me any. But me and Garrett, we just get cocky every day. All right. I want y'all to take that for what it is. You know, see if that helps you at all with your business, with your managing your different things and your entrepreneurial, ventures today, this week, going forward. I wish y'all nothing but the best. I got love and respect for all of y'all. Appreciate all y'all that keep tuning in. It's your boy. Y'all be blessed. Y'all just go out there and get cocky today. Let's get it done.